Last full council, but an alternative had been put forward at sort of 2 hours before the 7 o'clock deadline, and part and parcel of that was to privatise Grays Beach. You could have kicked us off the floor. Because, you know, we've understood from the word go, things are very difficult in this current climate, and yes, you've got to do some cuts, and you've got to look at smarter ways of doing things. But what you don't do is actually attack a jewel in your own crown, and something that every single one of us pays 74p a week out of our council tax towards supporting parks and open spaces. So, you know, we have got some reports going to the next cabinet. What we need from everybody is we need support, and we need people to actually, you know, put their name on all of the petitions to say, look guys, you know, this is not the will of the residents of Thurrock. Think again. You know, there are other things that have been put through that, you know, when you look at them, maybe be able to be supported, but something like privatising Grays Beach is not. You know, and when you think, I think it costs about £100,000 a year in grounds maintenance to keep Grays Beach as it is, changing the sand, etc. You can't get that money back unless you charge people to go in. That is not what we as an administration want to do. But if an outside leisure trust comes in, the only way they are going to make money there is to charge you for entrance. Why should you? You know, a lot of people here, like I know Jackie goes down there, I think in the summer most days with the children. It's a great place to go, and it's free. Apart from if you want to use...
I like my community. I live in my flat because I like my flat. Now, in my community, I've got children. My children are aged between 31 down to 18, and then I've got my grandchildren. All of us use Grays Beach. Yeah. It's a local place for me to meet my friends in the summer, in the spring. At winter, I meet my friends, and I need to go out and get a bit of fresh air. I want to be away from the flats. If the government want to start saving money, let's look into the council where they're wasting money. For instance, for the last 3 years, we have had all that scaffolding, all that metal, all around our flats.
It's going on. It's going on.
Well, yeah, not 3 years as well now. But at the end of the day, let's look into the council where, for instance, did you know all our bins are emptied by agency? They charge double what the council used to pay the men that done it for them. As a support officer myself, working through agency, if the council want me to go and see a dysfunctional family, instead of paying me £7.50 an hour, I don't get the £15. I still get the £7.50 an hour, but my agency gets 15. So if you're going to shout and moan about we want changes in your community, then it's down to us lot to let this lot know what we're going to do. And if it means a march and tying ourselves to fences, we can do it. Because if you sit back and you let them do it, I don't want to move out of my area.
And we started off a Facebook account as well, and we've got 967 signatures. So altogether, we've got 1,964 signatures saying we don't want the beach changed in any shape or form, and it's still ongoing. And then the other point was, what next? So that's what people...
I remember in all this... 2000. I remember before the investment was made in the beach, before we had the sands, you know, it wasn't somewhere you take people from outside to show around. I mean, all down there, the fronts onto the river, lovely walk by the river, you know, people come from all over to have a river walk. So I don't want to imagine what the Conservatives are up to.
Flats.
I don't want to imagine. I think, you know, that, it's not stated, but there's always an ulterior motive. This is prime real estate on the riverfront.
Marina.
Well, I don't want to imagine, but you guys have got imagination. You know, I mean, Val and myself are from the Labour group, we're around, we're local. Conservatives are different. They have their own agenda. Some people might support that, but I know, you know, people here know what Grays Beach was like years ago, how derelict it became, how much work was done to plant all those trees, and it didn't happen instantaneously. Over many years, those trees developed.
Along with the support of Corey's, who've put considerable investment in for us.
And you know, now we have a jewel where people come from all over to it, and they always say to me, "God, I didn't realise you had this lovely place here."
It's fabulous.
And so, you know, we're not going to give this up without a fight. My and Val's thanks are to the team here who have
They are brilliant.
absolutely pulled this campaign together really fast, and you know, we've got our support.
It's all very well me going knocking on doors and talking to people. The strongest thing you can do is to talk to your friends, your neighbours, and you know, your relatives, and say, we cannot let this happen. This is what, you know, we need you to vote this way in May. We need you to support. And even if you haven't supported before, you know, the Labour Party hasn't done themselves many favours. Several times we've made some faux pas. I like to think when we've messed up, we've put our hands up and gone, oh, we've got it wrong. But, you know, this is so important at the moment. It's so important. It's important for you, your children, your children's children, and, you know, your friends and relatives. That's what you can do. And the strongest thing you can do is to talk to each other, because that's much...
The Tories' plans, is it a viable plan? Just probably one of the worst PR campaigns in Thurrock's history.
I think it's been a badly thought out one. You know, they've tried this a few years ago and got slapped back down because, you know, you clearly can't do it. You know, Corey's have, you know, they had invested over £5 million in Grays Beach, and it's thanks to Corey's that we have the jewel in the crown we have today. And, you know, why try it again? It's either somebody wasn't listening, or, you know, the word hasn't got through to maybe Councillor Johnson, who I believe is sort of, and Councillor Gledhill, who actually weren't around then. So I just think it's a huge PR gaffe. You know, Grays Beach is here to stay. It is a jewel in our crown. We all pay weekly on our council tax for it. We appreciate it, we love it, we want it to stay. Get your hands off.